Today's topic is uptake and transport of mineral nutrients. Uptake and transport of minerals. How minerals are taken into the plant and how minerals are being transported. Usually under the transport of elements by xylem elements, where water is being transported, we discussed fully. I mean, something that water is carried through the xylem. When water is being carried through the xylem, water dissolved minerals will also be transported through the xylem elements, trachyry elements, which are xylem elements that we discussed here. But if you see here, what are elements or small molecules which are required? If you see this, usually in transpiration we discussed that there is exchange of water vapor through the stomata. During that exchange of water vapor through the stomata, there is exchange of gases also. So most of CO2 which is required for the plants, most of the carbon dioxide which is required for the plants, and oxygen which is required for the plant for respiration. CO2 which is required for photosynthesis and oxygen required for respiration are taken from atmosphere as per the stomatal opening. As stomata are opening and there is exchange of water vapor along with that exchange of gases, there is uptake and intake of carbon dioxide and oxygen which are required for photosynthesis and respiration through the stomata, which is taken from the atmosphere. Okay, here, but remaining nutrients means the minerals and remaining nutrients which are required to the plant for the growth or metabolic activities, they are not available in the atmosphere. Suppose some levels of nitrogen may be available, but what about calcium, magnesium, potassium, if sulfur, cobalt, any other nutrients or minerals which are required? That nutrients are not available in the atmosphere. So they must be taken through the roots. So remaining minerals are, I mean, the required minerals which are remaining minerals which are required are absorbed by roots from the soil, because the soil has all minerals. Soil is the source of all minerals. So the minerals which are present in the soil, they are taken up by the roots usually. So for that minerals which are present in the soil, roots show a uptake process. Uptake of minerals, then we will see transport of minerals. How minerals are being uptaken? Normally, the water transport we saw, where long distance transport, water is taken by the epidermal cells of the roots. Epidermal cells along with the root hairs, they are uptaking the water. That water will enter epidermis, then cortex, then what, endodermis and pericycle. Finally, it is entering the xylem and it is being carried to the top parts of the plant. That is involving apoplastic or symplastic mechanisms, we know. That uptake of water from epidermal cells of the plant and taking to the topmost, I mean entry, is usually passive diffusion we saw. Passive process, because water is being carried as per the osmosis. Passive entry of water, then the transpiration full and root pressure, they will pump water molecules in the xylem to the topmost portions of the plant. That is okay. But what about all minerals? All minerals cannot be passively absorbed into the roots. all minerals cannot be passively absorbed by roots. What is the passive absorption of mineral? Whatever water or mineral anything is absorbed means passive absorption is a process where there is absorption without energy expenditure. So without using energy, without the expenditure of energy, if any molecule is absorbed, that is what we can say passive absorption. But all minerals may not be absorbed passively. Why? Because for this there are two reasons. There are two reasons why minerals cannot be absorbed passively. One is minerals which are present in soil may exist as charged particles. That is one reason. Minerals are usually existing in ionic form like Na+2, calcium ion, chloride is negatively charged ion, iodine is there means negatively charged. Like that, they are present as charged particles. If they are charged particles, they cannot cross membrane and they cannot cross across the membrane. So usually the absorption of water in roots is a passive process, but if minerals are present in charged condition, they may not be taken easily by the membranes, because membranes are usually differently permeable, you know. As membranes are differently permeable, charged particles may not enter easily. That is one thing. And sometimes the concentration of minerals, amount of the minerals in soil is less than in plants. Usually that passive absorption is taken according to concentration gradient. What is that concentration gradient? From high concentration to low concentration there is a movement, high to low. But when soil has less concentration than in plants, then absorption should be done against to the concentration gradient. So this is against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient there is a need means usually passive absorption takes place as per the concentration gradient. Passive absorption takes place according to the Please wait one minute. Narendran. Yeah, Narasimha Rao sir is there. Yeah, Narasimha Rao sir is there. I am making him host. Yeah. Sindhana Narasimha Rao sir is there. Yeah, okay sir. Okay, okay. Yeah. Welcome back. Is the voice clear? Yeah, clear. Yeah. Small issue with another meeting. Small issue came. That's why I joined that meeting and came back. Okay. Right. See, concentration of minerals is more in soil and less in root means then it will be continuing according to concentration gradients. But if soil has less concentration and plant has more concentration means then there is a need of movement of particles or minerals against the concentration gradient. For that, against the concentration gradient, there is a need means there is need of movement against the concentration gradient means this needs energy. Both conditions, energy. What is that? Two reasons. First reason is if charged particles are present, minerals are in charged form means they cannot move across the membrane. For that movement across the membrane, they need some energy. And if concentration of minerals in soil is less than the plant, then absorption is taking place by active transport. So in this case, absorption of minerals into epidermal cells. Absorption of minerals into epidermal cells is taking place by active process where energy is involving. Active absorption is taking place so that minerals are absorbed actively by taking on expenditure of energy. So this active uptake ions where energy is expenditure, that is responsible for water potential gradient. This active absorption is responsible for water potential gradient. Well, how water potential changes? Here soil has water and minerals. Soil has water and minerals. Now by the active process, there is entry of minerals inside the root. What happens? Inside the root, mineral concentration is increased. Minerals concentration is increased means water potential decreases. Water potential is decreased inside the root means then water will be entering the root by osmosis. Okay. And it is responsible for water potential gradient in root. That means it decreases water potential. As water potential decreases due to absorption of minerals inside the root, then water enters root by osmosis process. With the help of that osmosis process, to compensate that water potential, because inside the root minerals are present more. When minerals are present more by active absorption, to equalize that water potential, water will be entering from the soil into the root by osmosis process. Okay. Here, but some minerals enter epidermis of roots. Epidermis of roots by passive absorption. Passive absorption is also seen. That means absorption of minerals inside the roots may be both active and passive processes. Active absorption is needed when these two conditions are present. Passive absorption is taking place whenever water is moving into the plants. Okay, note down this point, then we'll see some more. So, both passive and active processes are taking place for absorption. So that's what we can say, ions, that means minerals, are absorbed. Ions are absorbed in plant by both active and passive processes. That means both by involvement of energy and without energy. Both with the help of energy and without the help of energy, both processes, there is absorption of ions. Okay, and some specific proteins in membrane, proteins which are present in membrane also help in absorption. That only membrane channel proteins we discussed previously. Membrane proteins, they may be transporting systems like symports. Without energy means these two conditions are responsible for the need of energy. If two conditions are not present, minerals are not more charged. If soil has more concentration than in the plants, then without energy. Energy is needed when membrane does not cross the membrane. Minerals are not crossing the membrane means then energy is needed. That is one condition. Soil has less concentration than in the plant means then energy is needed. If the two conditions are not present means then there is no need of energy. So, some membrane proteins which are present, they are responsible for what? Active absorption. They help in absorption also. Here, proteins which are present in root hair cells, these membrane proteins which are present in root hair cells, they are responsible for uptaking of minerals or ions into the root cells from the soil. So these proteins, membrane bound proteins, they pump ions or minerals from soil to epidermal cells of cytoplasm of epidermal cells. Epidermal cells cytoplasm is there now. From soil into cytoplasm of epidermal cells, there is a pumping of mineral ions by the carrier membrane bound proteins. Okay, here if you see this, epidermal cells have less proteins, but endodermis is there. That you know, endodermis is the innermost layer of the cortex that has Casparian strips and passage cells. Casparian strips where there is no movement. This endodermal cells have many transport proteins. Endodermis cells have many transport proteins also. That transport proteins which are present in endodermis, they are responsible for movement of ions from endodermis, from the cortex into endodermis and from endodermis into the tracheary elements. Okay, here these endodermis membrane proteins, they are selectively transporters. That means selective transporters means Carrier proteins are there, which are selective carriers. Selective carriers means selective carriers allow only few minerals. Like membranes are differently permeable or selectively permeable. Minerals, not all minerals. Here, epidermis cell, from soil into the epidermis, there is entry with the help of that protein. That protein pump can enter all type of minerals from soil into the epidermis. But coming to endodermis, the cells or membrane proteins which are present in epidermal cells, they are not allowing all minerals to pass. They only allow some only. They are said to be what? Control points. They are what? Control points which can allow the entry of minerals into the trachyary element through endodermis. Here, what is that control point means? The quantity, types of minerals are adjusted by the endodermal cells. So these, what are that control points means? These control points adjust the minerals and quantity which is needed for plants. That means which minerals are needed for the plant and in which concentration a mineral is needed for the plant, that is controlled. Checkpoints. That is what I said, control point. In control point, which mineral is needed to the plant and in which concentration it is needed for the plant, that is checked here. All minerals are not allowed to carry. That is what we can say. And finally, that solutes reach xylem. Solutes finally reaching xylem strands. That xylem strand is responsible for that. And here, root endodermis is there now. Root endodermis. Endodermis is Casparian sphex and passage cells are there. That endodermis passage cells are there now. They are allowing. Endodermis cells are suberized. Suberized means suberin layer is present in cell wall. Endodermis cell wall is containing suberin layer. As suberin layer is present, they show only unidirectional movement. Unidirectional movement means movement of minerals in endodermis is only one direction, from soil to the xylem. That direction only there is a transport. From xylem to the soil there is no transport. From xylem to the soil there is no transport. That is point we have to remember because this energy is needed when soil has less concentration than in the plant. Plant has more concentration than soil means according to concentration gradient there may be movement of high concentration to low concentration. Then minerals can move from plant into the soil. There is a chance. But here that type of movement is not possible because endodermis cells are covered with suberin cell wall. That suberin cell wall allows only unidirectional movements. Okay, this is uptake of minerals into the roots. Then transport, translocation of minerals. Translocation of minerals. What is this? Translocation of minerals means Translocation, what I told you, long distance transport is called translocation. In beginning of the lesson I told you. Translocation is a process. Suberized cell wall is impermeable. How minerals are crossed? Impermeable. But there is passive cells are there, na? They have membrane carrier proteins. Suberized cell walls are impermeable, but passive cells have less thickness. Endodermis is two types I told you, Casparian strips and passive cells. Where that suberin or lignin, suberin, they are present in less concentration, that is passive cell. They have carrier proteins which can allow to enter. Suberin is impermeable, but in that there may be presence of some proteins which are carrier proteins in that. Okay, right. See the translocation. Translocation is a process which is long distance transport. I told you. Long distance transport means taking of a substance or mineral from one source to another place. Where it is taken, that is called source. Suppose root is a source for minerals. To where it is carried, that is what we call sink. Source and sink. Here, what happens usually? Minerals enter xylem by this absorption, by active process or passive process or by both. Some of the minerals need energy. I told you, when they are more charged and when their concentration is more inside the plant in the soil, then they need energy, that is active absorption. Okay. Some minerals do not need energy, that is passive absorption. By active absorption, there may be absorption of minerals into the xylem, or by passive process without need of energy, there is absorption, or by both also there is absorption of the minerals. Okay, combination of the two. Then further transport is taking place through the stem to all parts of the plant by transpiration stream. Absorbed minerals are transported through stem with transpiration stream. What is that transpiration stream? Transpiration stream is responsible for development of negative pressure gradient at leaves. As a negative pressure gradient, there is uplifting of water molecules. Along with that stream of transpiration, there is the transport of this one. Okay. So what happens to growing parts of plants? What are growing parts of plants? Leaf is a growing part. Apical meristem, stem tip, that is apical meristem is a growing part. Leaf is growing part. If flowers are present, flowers are forming, that is growing part. Fruits are forming, that is growing part. Seeds are forming, that is growing part. To the growing part from the root to topmost portion, there is absorption. Okay. So here, where a substance is present, that is what we call source. And where to carry, to be transported, that is called sink. Source means if water is absorbed by the root is the source now, because minerals are present now in the root, that is the source. Here that minerals are carried to the flower is the sink. So between that source and sink there is a transport of this. Okay, see here what happens after that transpiration. With the help of that transpiration stream, there is a transport. After that, what happens? If water is reaching the leaves, Water is reaching the leaves as per yes, I mean previous class diagram I told you. There is palisade parenchyma, spongy parenchyma, here a stomata, and there is phloem, and middle there is xylem. This diagram is given in NCERT, so the diagram is important. Okay, here the xylem is carrying in the leaves, the veins, midrib veins are there in leaves, right? That veins and vein endings may be leaving that water. So that minerals unload. Unloading means losing of minerals. Unloading of minerals occurs at unload at veins and veinlets. Veins and veinlets which are present, okay, by diffusion process, because in xylem minerals are present more, okay, diffusion process. And because why diffusion? Xylem carried minerals from root to the leaf. In leaf minerals are less present, so that diffusion, like concentration gradient. And the membranes may also be by what? Impermeable or semi-permeable. That also needs some active transport. Energy may be needed in that case. Okay, diffusion and active uptake by the cells which are present in that. Okay, and the minerals which are present in the root, they are carried by the transpiration stream and reach leaves. In leaves they are released into the leaf by diffusion and by active process. Once minerals are released into the leaf, what happens then? The minerals, they may be remobilized between cells from one part to the another part. Suppose one mineral is taken by the roots, it is absorbed into the xylem water, then it is carried into the leaf. In the leaf it is responsible for some metabolic process. When leaf becomes old, leaf is falling down or some other process is taking place, then what is happening is mineral ions are frequently remobilizing taking place. That mineral ions are frequently remobilized. Remobilized means they are moved from one part of the plant to the another part of the plant. From older parts, where older parts have minerals, older parts have minerals, but old parts do not need minerals more, because in old parts there is no active cell division, growth process are less, so there is no need. So from old parts to young parts, there is active remobilization of the minerals taking place. Okay, here when old part means when leaf becomes deciduous, that means when a leaf is falling down, all minerals are transported to the active part. The actively absorbing or mobilizing minerals are phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium. Potassium, K. Phosphorus, sulfur, potassium, calcium, nitrogen, that elements are nitrogen also, these are actively metabolized. Okay, calcium, phosphorus, no, here this is nitrogen is metabolized, and minerals which are not metabolized, mobilized, minerals which are not moving from one part to another part, that is calcium. Yeah, calcium will not come. Calcium is not remobilizing. Calcium will not be mobilizing from, because calcium is a structural component. Like cell walls have calcium pectate. As calcium is a structural component, it is not remobilizing. Yeah. Calcium is a structural component, so it is not remobilizing. Okay. Like that, there is transport taking place. So remobilization is responsible for transport also. Then that remobilization is having different source and sink. Okay. Here nitrogen is there now. Nitrogen may be converting into inorganic ions, and like amino acids which are organic compounds like food, like that it is carrying. And phosphorus, sulfur may be present in the form of phosphorus is present in nucleic acid nucleotides, phosphate. Sulfur is present in amino acids, like that they are carrying through these organic compounds. Okay, here one important thing is xylem and phloem are present in a trachyry element, that small amounts of minerals may exchange between xylem and phloem. There may be exchange of little amounts of minerals between xylem and phloem. Suppose xylem is responsible for transport of water and minerals, whereas phloem is responsible for transport of minerals and organic compounds. Minerals are carried by both xylem and phloem. As minerals are carried by both xylem and phloem, and xylem and phloem are present together in a vascular bundle, there is exchange of materials. So we cannot say clearly we can't say that xylem is responsible for only which is responsible for only minerals. We cannot say that. Xylem transports only that minerals and water, phloem transports only organic nutrients and minerals, like that we can't. That's why xylem and phloem, they are both involving in transport of minerals. Okay. Xylem is transporting minerals with inorganic nutrients, whereas phloem is transporting minerals with organic nutrients. Okay, we can't say, but it is traditionally believed process. Xylem is responsible for transport of minerals in inorganic elements. Phloem is responsible for transport of organic elements along with mineral. That is not distinctly seen, differently seen. It is a belief. Okay, this is about uptake of minerals and the transport of minerals by the trachyry elements. Then phloem transports. Phloem transports. Phloem is also a component of this trachyry element. Food, particularly sugars, are transported. Foods, particularly sugars. Sugars means especially sucrose sugar, that is being carried by phloem. Phloem is majorly responsible for transport of sugar molecules, particularly sucrose, by the phloem from one part of the plant to another part of the plant. This movement is, phloem movement is bidirectional. Phloem transport or phloem movement is bidirectional. That means in both sides, from one place, from source to sink or sink to source, like that. That means here phloem from source to sink. Source to sink or sink to source means, see here, first From A to B, there is a transport of a substance. For this, it is a source, it is a sink. Next time it may be reversed from B to A. Now this is a source, this is a sink. Like that we can say, different. Why like this there is a movement means, if you see, suppose if you see, plants are carrying photosynthesis and prepare food, right? By photosynthesis there is formation of glucose, sucrose. Wait, I will tell you. That photosynthesis is carrying and food is prepared by the leaf. Food is produced there now in leaf. Food is needed for remaining organs also. Like roots. Roots require food for the growth and all processes. As food is required for the root, sugars are carried from leaf to the root through the phloem. Okay. Now roots may be storing food also sometimes. Yes or no? Storage roots are there. They store food. Food is stored by roots. So normally plants that can prepare food in vegetative phase and store the food in that vegetative phase, whereas same plants in reproductive phase, generative phase or reproductive phase, rate of photosynthesis decreases and flowering, fruit formation is taking place. During that, food what is stored in storage organs like stems or roots, that is carried back to the stem. In one season, suppose carrots, potato, onion, they have two seasons. In one season, they are preparing food and storing the food in root or stem modifications. In second season, they need food for reproduction. So food what is stored in the stem or root will be taken back by the phloem, that is bidirectional. First it is moving from leaf to the root. Whenever there is no rate of photosynthesis, that is reversed back from root to the leaf. That is what we can say. Okay. Usually source is the part of plant which synthesizes food, and sink is not synthesizing food. Usually here source is leaf where photosynthesis is taking place. Sink is usually roots or stem modifications or root modifications like storage organs. Stores. Okay. Here, depending on the season, there may be reversing. Write 2 points for that. What I explained till now, write the 2 sentences. The source and sink. The source and sink may be reversed. The source and sink may be reversed based on season. Yeah, source is where food is prepared, sink where to carry, leaf to root means food is prepared, food is stored, prepared in the leaf and stored in root. Now the source is leaf, sink is root. So the sink and source may be reversed depending on the season or plant's needs. Based on season or plant's needs. Next point. Sugar stored in root may be mobilized sugar stored in root may be moved or mobilized to become food source to the buds of trees. That means in spring season budding is taking place now. That buds of trees act as sink. They need energy for growth and development. And for photosynthetic apparatus. Next, when photosynthesis takes place, food is carried from leaf to storage organs. Food is carried from leaves to storage organs. Since source-sink relationship is variable, and the movement in phloem is bidirectional, can be upwards or downwards. Next point. Movement in xylem is always unidirectional. That is upwards. Movement in xylem is always unidirectional, upwards. Unlike xylem transport of water, food transport in phloem is in any required direction. Next point. Phloem sap mainly contains sucrose and water, but other sugars other sugars, hormones or amino acids are also present. Other sugars, hormones, amino acids also present in phloem sac. Next, mass flow, which explains the movements. Is it visible? No. Yeah. Mass flow hypothesis to explain the movement of materials in that. Mass flow, which is also called pressure flow hypothesis. Pressure flow hypothesis. According to that, one second. Yeah, see now. Mass flow or pressure flow hypothesis. According to this mass flow or pressure flow hypothesis, what is taking place? Just take a stem. First I will explain what is happening, then I will give notes. Suppose if we see multi-directional movement of substances in a plant, multi-directional movement of substances in a plant. Suppose this is a phloem connection, what I am saying, phloem column that is connected with some leaf. This diagram is clearly given in your NCERT that you can watch well. See here, this is one leaf. This is a phloem column, and the phloem column is present in plant stem. You know, in middle of that we drawn one. This one phloem column which is present from top part of the plant to the bottom part of the plant. Suppose this is a leaf which is connected with phloem column, and suppose this same phloem column is connected to a bud of plant. Phloem movement is bidirectional, I told you. That means there is a transport of materials from top to bottom or bottom to top. Bottom to top or top to bottom movement is seen, that you know. This movement, how materials or substances, what are present majorly? Water and sucrose are present in this majorly, which is transporting in both directions. Along with that, there is presence of some other sugars, hormones and amino acids are also present, which is being carried. What happens during that transport? How there is a loading of sugars taking place. Minerals are loading into the xylem with the help of active absorption or passive absorption, or by both. Just now I told you. How these sugars are loading here? First, what happens? Glucose is prepared by photosynthesis. Glucose is prepared by photosynthesis, you know. So where glucose is being prepared by photosynthesis, glucose is less stable because it is undergoing metabolism fastly. So it converts into sucrose. Sucrose is less involving in metabolism. Why glucose is not transporting in phloem? Why sucrose is being transported in phloem? A question came just now. I think Priyadarsini or something asked the question. Why? Because when glucose is formed in the metabolism, glucose is undergoing breakdown also, like glycolysis is taking place. So glucose will be converted into sucrose. It is converted into sucrose. So that sucrose is taken into the phloem. I will give notes for this. Wait. Sucrose is taken into phloem. Phloem has different units, you know. What are parts of phloem? Phloem has, what are that? Companion cells are there. Companion cells, sieve elements, sieve cells, sieve tubes, phloem parenchyma, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers. 4 parts are present. Phloem parenchyma is food storage. Fiber is dead cell. Sieve cells and sieve tubes are major conducting elements. Major conducting elements in phloem are, transporting elements in this are sieve cells or sieve tubes. Companion cells are associated with the sieve cells and sieve tubes, that is responsible for movement. Okay. Here the sucrose which is converted, that is taken into the phloem, sucrose enters first into companion cells. That companion cells are associated with phloem parenchyma also. Parenchyma where food is present. Companion cells are taking first this one. Companion cells. Then it is entering into sieve cells or sieve tubes. Sucrose, what is formed here? That is first entering the companion cells, then it enters sieve cells or sieve tubes. What happens due to entry of this sieve cells or sieve tubes? What will happen when that sucrose is entering sieve cells or sieve tubes? Inside that sieve cells or sieve tubes, sucrose concentration is increasing. That means solute concentration is increasing. That causes decrease in water potential. Water potential will be decreased. Yes or no? So water potential will decrease. Okay. This entry of this sucrose into sieve cells by active process, active absorption or active transport. As sieve cells are taking this sucrose, water potential will be decreasing. Okay. So as decreasing, that creates hypertonic condition. Hypertonic condition means more solutes are present. Water potential is decreasing means then water enters this sieve elements, sieve tubes or sieve elements from adjacent xylem, because phloem or xylem both are present in a vascular bundle. Hypertonic means solutes are more and water is less. That is hypertonic, not hypotonic. Hypertonic condition is developed. Due to that hypertonic condition, hypertonic means more solutes are present. If cell is kept in hypertonic, then there is a loss of water from the cell. Cell has more water, solute has hypertonic means water will be lost. Because hypertonic means less water, cell has more water. Cell is losing water. But here, cell is hypertonic. Cell is hyper. Here, xylem has more water. So from more water to hypertonic medium, there is entry. Yeah, cell gains water. Cell will take up the water from the adjacent xylem. As cells are taking water from adjacent xylem, what will happen? Water potential increases. So this will increase water potential, because this is a source. But at sink, there is a decrease in water potential. As at sink there is a decrease in water potential, water moves. Sorry, not water. Food with water. Food and water. What is food here? Sucrose is food. Sucrose and water moves from source to sink based on water potential gradient, because there is entry of water inside the phloem due to uptake of the sugar, so that water potential is more now. There at sink, less water potential, due to that difference there is movement. Okay, this is what taking place. Water enters the sieve elements by osmosis process. Water enters from xylem to the sieve elements by osmosis. Okay. Next, what happens? From high pressure to low pressure, there is moving. Again, at sink, there is movement. At sink, from phloem to external side, there is release. Release of food again needs active transport. Then, by active transport, sucrose unloading of sucrose from phloem is taking place from phloem with the help of active transport. By active transport, sucrose is removed from the phloem into the cells where sugar is used or stored, into cells of sink, where the target movement is there into the cells there is entry of water, entry of the sucrose from phloem into the sink with the help of that active energy. Okay, because there is sugar which is transported into the sink, that may be converted into energy like metabolism, or it may be stored into starch, or that may be used as cellulose, like that. Okay, this is how explaining. What is this mass flow or pressure flow means? Due to uptake of sugar into the companion cells, they will uptake water. Along with the water, sugars are being transported. That is what we can say mass flow. What is the pressure flow means? Due to active absorption of sucrose, due to active absorption in sucrose, there is a development of water potential pressure. So potential pressure of water is increasing, that causes movement. Here, why there is a decrease in the sink? What is your doubt? Why there is a decrease in water potential in the sink? Actually, there is no decrease in the water potential at sink. Suppose if we take source and sink, suppose this is source, this is sink. Here sucrose entered the phloem. Before entry of sucrose into the phloem, they have same potential. Here potential same, here potential same. Before the entry of sucrose. When sucrose enters, on entry of sucrose, when sucrose is entering, there is a raise in the potential. But here potential is not changed. That is, this potential, sink potential, is less than the raised potential. There is no decrease in the potential at sink. Sink potential is less, that is constant. But source potential is increasing. That causes potential difference between 2 points. Okay? This is how food is being carried in the phloem through mass flow. Now water potential increases in phloem. Yeah. Water potential is increasing in the phloem here. Here more potential. At sink less potential. In phloem only more potential at source, less potential at sink. So from the area of more potential to the area of less potential, there is movement. Okay, this is how food and water is being carried through the phloem. With this we complete transport in plant lesson. Next we will start mineral nutrition lesson. You prepare from transpiration full. Root pressure series, up to root pressure series you wrote in previous WPT. After that, to the end of the lesson, you write WPT tomorrow. I will give recording link to the Sumera. Sumera will upload. Notes are, yeah, this is enough. I thought to dictate notes, but I wrote every point on the board. So this is enough. Yeah. You can copy this. If not copied, take a screenshot. Sir, in phloem, sucrose added means solute increasing, then water potential decreases. That is only I am saying. Sucrose is entering means solute potential is increasing, that develops hypertonic condition. When sucrose is added in the phloem, water potential decreases. So it will take water from xylem into the sieve. As water potential is decreasing in the sucrose, in the phloem due to addition of sucrose, water is taken from the xylem. This point, water will be entering the xylem, entering the sieve elements through the xylem. Okay? Understand? Yeah, copy these points. If not copied, take a screenshot. Yeah, thank you. Done, Sumera. Thank you, thank you. Prepare well for WPT, write well. Yeah. Dhanyawad. Yeah, Dhanyawad. Dhanyawad. Khudafiz. Nandri. Vanakkam. Bye.